Look, man. Look, man. All I gotta say is this, bruh. Freya is best girl. She is best girl material, bruh. Listen, man. Look, I can't I can't believe out of all the animes that I legitimately watch, I can't believe Danmachi is the one anime that they actually basically did an innuendo, and they basically said that Freya is completely okay with having a threesome. Yes, you heard this first. You heard this first. Freya is completely fine with a damn threesome. Why? I have no idea, but that was absolutely hilarious that she was okay with this. And I'm just like, all right, that's crazy. That's crazy. Absolutely insane. But Danmachi episode I think it's 7. I don't know. This new Danmachi episode, another good episode and another shocking episode to say the least. And I'm actually very much intrigued to see where the story is going to go. Now, it's gonna be interesting to see if I think this is just a one core. We only got like a few more episodes left to go because I think there's 12 episodes in total. But it's gonna be very interesting to see what's going on. And I'm not really gonna talk about the episode, like break down what happened where, but I'm kind of gonna do kind of like an overview because realistically, like, and I know I try to do more of that, and analyze things and see where they can go, but this episode was kind of like an episode's like, all right, I'm analyzing this. When I talk about this is where I could feel like maybe the story could go, but it's absolutely crazy how conflicting of a character Freya is. Now, if you saw me last week, I was legitimately calling this girl a crazy psycho bitch. She is all of that. Freya is a crazy psycho yandere, crazy goddess, you know what, right? But at the same time, you see like that last bit of the episode, and you're like, maybe she's a lot more normal than we think she is, because it's like we see after the events of how the Anya and then the Ryu stuff happened, we could tell, and even Belle could picked up, like, you don't look too happy. And the fact that like legitimately like it's funny because last week I said like, okay, it seems like Freya just doesn't give a rat's ass about anything. Does not give a rat's ass about anybody. And I was just legitimately like, okay, we're gonna see. And it's clear that, okay, no, in there she does have a heart. Even though she is a lunatic and she is crazy, and her goals and her ambitions to try to get Belle and break him. Now that's the crazy part, but realistically, we can kind of see maybe the reason why maybe she is what she is, maybe she's broken. And I was watching the episode and I was thinking and I was thinking too. And I'm just like, I watched the scene when Ryu ends up showing up after Anya gets knocked out. And then you just have it where you kind of get, obviously, one, it's crazy that she revealed herself among Anya and Ryu that she was Seer the entire time. Like, that was crazy. Anya, for the most part, is kind of like, I'm in denial. I'm not believing this. I believe that Seer is an actual person. In reality, it was always Freya. Because her brother was legitimately there. It's like, okay, we'll tell you everything. So she's in utter shock right now. So I don't know where that's going to go in terms of that storyline. And maybe at some point she's going to have to accept it and just understand, but who knows? We'll see where it's gonna go. There's a focus on Anya for a reason, and the fact that she wasn't really affected by the charms is crazy. Also, Mamma Mia was not affected by Freya's charm as well. The other two girls were obviously affected. Um, the main, because they made a mention of like, oh, Seer, who the hell is Seer? Um, and Mamma Mia essentially made the mention of like, oh, blah 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 blah, and she knew like, oh, she just charmed everybody. So I don't know if that means like Mamma Mia has some sort of resistance to charm as well, or maybe the thing is Freya came to Mamma Mia and is like, hey, I'm gonna pretend to be this girl named Seer. I just so I can see what it's like to live among the common folk and and the people and everything, right? Right? And Mommy is like, okay, that's fine. If you want to do what you want to do what you want to do, right? And maybe that's why. And she didn't charm her because she's like, well, she knows my secret, so there's no point. We don't get any backstory to that, so maybe I'm guessing that's the case. Freya must have showed up because she wanted to be a regular girl and everything and see what it was like, because she does say in this episode like, oh, I did this all as a game, that's the kind of the whole thing right then and there. And Mamma Mia was probably just like, all right, fine, if you want to treat this like a game, it is, but you're gonna work, okay, just let you know. And it seems like Freya didn't charm her unless like Mamma Mia has like some sort of like resistance to the charm and she's a lot stronger than she looks. Who knows? She might have been an old adventurer that's just maybe just retired. I don't know. But it's going to be interesting to see from Anya's perspective in terms of what's going to happen with her going forward. But the interesting whole conversation with the fact is, one, even at the start of the episode, like Freya's having a meeting with her other familiar members about Belle and everything, and essentially I think it was Haydn that asked like, so how do we handle this whole Seer situation? And Freya just is like, look, Seer is dead, I'm not her no longer, so just say like it was some sort of figment of his imagination or something, I don't really care, just acknowledge that Seer is dead. But then you get to the last bit of the episode, you see when Belle essentially was looking at when Freya was kind of hitting on him, and she's like, oh, you're so cute, I really or like she basically confessed right then and there as Freya like, I love you and I adore you. And that made Belle like, Miss Seer, is that you? And then you could tell like, okay, she was pissed off about that. And then because then obviously she did the playful thing, just like, how dare you talk about another woman in front of the goddess of love right in and here, right then and there, right? But then you get the end of the episode where she goes to her desk, like her drawer, her dresser drawer, pulls out the hair clip that Belle gave her on their date when she was Seer, and she looks very sad. And then you see Horn's perspective, because we know they share the same feelings because of how connected they are. She looked a little bit sad, and I'm just like, you want this persona of Seer to die, but there's a lot of people that have a lot of connections with Seer, of who Seer is and who that person is. That's the connection people have with. They don't have a connection with Freya. They have that connection with Seer. And then you tie it all wrapped into the conversation she has with Ryu while she's in this Seer persona. And Ryu's more accepting the fact like, I can't believe you were actually Freya this entire I can't believe you were actually pretending to be Seer this entire time. And Freya ends up saying like, oh yeah, I just did this because this was just a game to me. And I'm just like, okay, this is crazy, chick. But then you see the last bit of the episode, I'm like, this can't be a game to you if it really is hurting you that not only Belle, but a lot of other people like Anya and even Ryu, they view you as Seer, even though with Freya, with Ryu, she knows like, okay, that's Freya, but she still views her as Seer. Like, you may be Freya, but I see you as Seer, the girl that gave me this opportunity. And we can also see that, and I said last week, maybe Freya actually just doesn't genuinely care about anybody other than Belle. Well, I'm completely wrong in that assessment that I said, I think a week or two ago, because genuinely she does care about other people than just Belle. We see that like, okay, she genuinely cares about Anya because she was willing to give an explanation about, okay, yeah, I was pretending to be somebody else that I'm not. And then when she was talking to Ryu in this whole conversation, like I said, I made the mention about, she legitimately tells Ryu, listen, one, she charms Ryu, and she's like, look, and she takes off the charm. She's like, look, I don't want to even start anything. I really like you. And also too, I just don't like using the charm ability, which is pretty interesting to find out she actually does not like to use the charm ability she's got. But going on in that conversation, she ends up basically telling Ryu, she's like, look, I really genuinely like you, Ryu. So I don't want to do any of these hurtful things to you. Listen, just give in. Just join me. And you know what? I don't like any other girls having Belle all to themselves, but you know what? I can make an exception for you because that's how much you mean to me. So you know what? If you want to have Belle, you can have him. I don't care what you do. We can share him. I can have Belle. You can have Belle. My good. I literally lost it when she legitimately said, you can have a baby with him. I'm like, I'm like, ain't no way this girl straight up said, oh, you want Belle? Okay, yeah, you can have Belle. And you know what? You can even have a family, a child with Belle. And I'm just like watching this. I'm like, I can't tell if Frey is crazy. Clearly, that was some craziness because it's like, ain't no way you're gonna tell Ryu, oh, you can have a child with him. You know, that's a little bit craziness right then and there. But the fact, like, she essentially basically, and she was like insinuating, like, you know, we can like do things and bear his skin bare, and we can bear our skins for him. All this aspect of our love to show him how much we love him. And I'm just like, I'm just like, hold on, hold on. Ryu just got selected, basically told by Freya, listen, we can have a polygamous relationship. I'm completely fine if we have a threesome. Listen, man. Listen, man. I'm sorry. Ryu might be against that, but I'm like, Ryu, you might have to consider that option because holy shit, that might be the best case scenario for you than ever could be before. You can get everything you want. Yes, you'll be sharing Belle with another woman. But at that point, I listen. If I was in Ryu's shoes, just say yes. Just say yes. How are you gonna turn it down? How are you gonna turn that down? You get to be with your friend again, and you get to be with Belle. And regardless, enough of the funny business. Enough of my funny comedic business. Even though that would be a great way to end Danmachi completely. Belle gets Freya and Ryu. I still don't. Regardless, whatever. You get my point. You get my point. I'm just joking around. But regardless, the fact that Freya said like she would be willing to share Belle because like legitimately she says out of any woman I know, I'm okay with you wanting to have Belle. Because remember, early on, I think it was the second episode, Seer legitimately asked Ryu to her face, like, hey, is it okay if I go out on this date with Belle? I really like him and I want to go out on this date with him. Is that okay with you? You know, Freya asked that as Seer to Ryu. Like, the fact that she asked her that, and now it's making sense of why she asked that. And it's like, you actually genuinely do care about Ryu. Ryu does mean a lot to you. The fact that you won't charm her, the fact that you asked her if it was okay. Because I think at this point, she clearly knows, like, okay, Ryu, you have an affection for Belle. You love Belle too, like how much I love him, right? And then on top of it, she was like, listen, I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to do this to you. So how about this? We get the best of both worlds. I get Belle, and you get to have Belle too. It's a win-win for both of us. And it goes to show me that Freya does have a heart, and she genuinely did have a bond and a relationship, obviously with the cafe girls, but she had a true deep relationship with Ryu. And maybe Ryu's the one person that maybe she feels she was cool with, and she's like, you know what? I want to be her friend because she's treating me so kindly, and I've never had this kindness sent to me. I've always kind of been ostracized and kind of been alone and kept to myself, but this was this person that came and befriended me and became a friend. Because remember, Seer was the one that helped Ryu after obviously her familia all were killed. She was the one that brought her into this, and she created a bond and a connection with Ryu, and Ryu got close with her, and obviously as Ryu got close to her, got close to Freya, Freya then grew an attachment and got close to Ryu. And you get that, and when you get that last bit of the episode when Belle's talking to Ryu, I mean, not Belle's talking to Ryu, Belle's talking to Freya about, because he makes mention like, "Are you okay? You look a little down." And Freya makes mention like, "Well, I got in a fight with a friend of mine and everything, and it's over something that I really wanted, and I made the decision to go with something I really wanted over my friend." And obviously Freya's like, "I just don't know if I can be able to fix it." And Bella's like, "Well, if you get what you want, why not just try to go fix it then?" And that kind of gives something to Freya, like, "Oh." And then that leads into the whole funny conversation and everything. And then that leads into the whole thing how she says, like, "I adore you." And then Bella's like, "Okay, like Miss Seer." And then at first I'm like, oh my God, he called her Seer. She's going to be pissed. She was a little bit pissed. She was obviously pissed off. But at the same time, when she goes to the desk and pulls out the hairpin, you can see that she was clearly bothered in a way where it makes her sad, because it's like, he's not seeing me as Freya, he's seeing me as Seer. And when you add in the fact that you saw with the Ryu conversation, the way Horn looked, because um we know Horn can feel the exact same feelings that Freya can feel. Um, and we can tell, like, okay, Horn must know that Freya is sad that people only know her as Seer and view her as Seer. And this could be a good character development moment for Freya, in terms of, I guess, her one finally accepting maybe that Belle doesn't like her, but likes her as a friend and is willing to be there for her as a friend, obviously not romantically, but you get my point. But the fact that, he sees her as Seer. Now, when that is revealed to Belle, obviously it's gonna be interesting to see how he acts, and maybe he does the Belle thing that we've known, and that's the thing, is like, listen, you have a bunch of friends here because you were Seer, right? I'm your friend. Ryu's your friend. A bunch of other people. The cafe ladies are your friends. We're here. And maybe the thing is, and so far we've seen it in the storyline where Freya's kind of been a lonely character. She hasn't had that one person like she could connect with and be friend. And like we saw her like last week giggling and everything, like a little girl in the bed after Belle got flustered with her, right? That's the Seer personality in her. And deep down, that's what she wants to be. She wants to be that giggly little girl that is having fun and having people around her care about her and everything, right? So legitimately, I've said like, okay, we could get some big battle. Maybe we still do get that big battle, but ultimately at the end of the day, maybe we get a focus on Freya, to where maybe, and I've said this the last few weeks, maybe this is going to be the season where maybe Hesty and the others go save Belle. Maybe this is a thing where, secretly, shockingly, Belle is actually saving Freya from herself. And maybe the thing is, she actually gets her to save her. Because remember, when this season first started off, we saw Seer talk about how she wants to be freed from the shackles of goddesshood. And I can only interpret that as Freya more than likely is sick of being a god. She's probably sick of being a god, because remember, she talked about how I don't like to use the charm stuff and whatever, and I don't like all this thing, blah 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 blah, right? And it's clear that she looks bored, she looks lonely being a goddess in a castle. And when I was thinking, I'm like, okay, you add up the fact that Sarah's talking about how she wants to be freed from the chains or the shackles of goddesshood. That tells me she wants to be a regular, everyday human being like everybody else in Arario. She doesn't want to have the responsibilities of being a god. And even though she said when she was Seer, she was doing this as a game, it was all a game to her. She genuinely created bonds with individuals when she was Seer that they were obviously positives. Ryu was the case to that. And I'm wondering if how the season's gonna go is, maybe they do free Freya from the shackles of goddesshood. And it's like, we don't care if you're a goddess or not. We want Seer. We want Seer. And you may be Freya, but to us, you're Seer. And guess what? We like that about you. And you can clearly, and also too, maybe Freya Familia also helps in this because some Freya Familias feel because we've seen it throughout the few episodes. Like Freya's familiars are like, why is like Belle the special one? I wish I was like featured much. And maybe this is a thing for a character development moment for Freya to maybe start to value the people around her and see like, no, you have people that care about you around you. You know, obviously you need to do your due diligence and show them the love and care back, but you have people that care about you. Yes, will it be for a specific persona? Yes. But at the end of the day, there are people out there that care about you. And I think genuinely, even as Freya, Ryu would still care for Freya because guess what? You'd be like, look, you may be Freya, but to me, you're Seer. And at the end of the day, I don't care who you are, you're my friend. Um, and listen, we could completely be getting a complete twist of where we thought the story was gonna go. Legitimately, this could be a strictly because every season, Belle has had to be the hero to save a girl in a representative season. I've already talked about it in previous episodes. Shockingly enough, it seems like season 5 could be the season where Belle saves Freya indirectly. I thought all this stuff last week was going to happen, but now I have to put the theories that I made last week of maybe she's going to try to break him and turn him into this. Now, that could all very much happen, but then again, it seems like Belle is not going to break completely, and maybe Belle doesn't break, but gets her to break, and maybe she then gets emotional at some point later down as the season's conclusion, and maybe that's when she explains, like, I just don't want to be a goddess anymore. I just want to be what you guys are and just be good friends. But who knows, man? That was the shocking thing of the fact of, okay, you do care about Ree, you do care about other people. You just don't do a poor job at expressing that. And the fact that she got very upset and sad that people view her as Seer, it really makes me wonder, is she going to forego finding a way to try to not be a goddess anymore and be just an everyday common person and maybe just be like, you know what? I'm casting aside me being Freya. I want to be Seer 100%. And maybe that's the case we go in. Maybe by the end of the season, she's like, yeah, I'm maybe Freya, but you know what? These people appreciate me and they know me as Seer, so I'm gonna be Seer, and the people love me for being Seer. And I want to be freed from the shackles of goddesshood. And I don't know, maybe there's something she can do to free herself from the shackles of not being a goddess and being a common day person, and then she can be Seer again. And then she can have every connection of everybody that she's had. Because even in the short stints of Seer, we see that a lot of people do like Seer. Obviously, Belle likes Seer. Obviously, the cafe girls like Seer. And it's clear from this episode alone that that Ryu means a lot to Freya, and she doesn't want to hurt her. Like she just tells like one of her men, like, listen, just throw her in a dungeon and don't do anything to her. So you have to wonder if she's gonna have another conversation with Ryu going forward, saying, look, I don't want to do this to you, Ryu. I like you. I want to be your friend. We can be friends again. Just let bygones be bygones, right? So it's very interesting, man. It's very interesting. That last bit of the episode where Freya looked very sad, I'm like, I think she's realizing people like Seer. Now, this could piss her off and just be like, you're not getting Seer again. But maybe this is the thing, is like, maybe I made a miscalculation. Maybe I should have never had this whole thing about Seer dying. Because clearly she has a lot of connections with Seer and people love her as Seer. I know in a weird way it doesn't make sense, but regardless, I feel like indirectly it seems like this season could go in a way where maybe Belle and Ryu combine, save Freya, and maybe they free her from the shackles of goddesshood. We don't know if like these goddesses can actually forego not being gods anymore. So if they can, that would probably be the best case. And again, that it just makes me feel like she wants to be freed from the shackles of goddesshood because she probably wants to be a regular human citizen of Aurora. She doesn't want to be a goddess in terms in charge of her own familia. She wants to be in, because we know when she was going out on the date with Belle, she was enjoying it because it's like, no, this is what could be if I was a regular everyday girl. I can be with the guy I love and I can enjoy my time with him. I don't have to have the weights of being a goddess. And it's starting to see, but it's crazy, man. This show's really going in depth with the character of Freya, and I'm completely loving it. You know, if they go the direction where I think they may go, legitimately, Freya could probably be one of the best girls in this entire franchise with the development she potentially could be getting. Now, maybe I'm completely wrong after this episode is review is done and I get to like the last few bits of episodes and we just find out Freya's just a crazy bitch, and she don't really care and blah 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 blah. They defeat her, but it feels like this ending to season 5 could be Freya accepting people like her as Seer, and then she forgoes being Freya and forgoes for whatever reason or however they can do it, being a goddess, and she just takes the full mantle of being Seer, and she continues to keep those connections that she once had that deep down she really does care about. So very eye-opening. I know Hayden at the end of the episode said, please let me still serve you. And I feel like the Freya Familia will also probably play a part and be like, look, goddess, we want you to be who you want to be, and we care about you. You know, so if you want to be Seer and enjoy being Seer. We'll always be here for you. You know? So that's the thing. Hestia ended up actually meeting up with Aranos. Aranos basically said, go away, I have nothing to do. Fells can watch you and relay information to Freya. And it is already explained to Freya that Freya already knows that Hestia is basically just immune to her charms. So it's kind of like she's got the Freya Familia members watching over Freya. So Freya already knows about Hestia. Legitimately, she already knows about Hestia. Strictly. So yeah. So we'll definitely see where it's gonna go, man. But when I got to the end of the episode, I was like, damn it, I need more. Listen, man, if the season ends the way it could end, I enjoyed my time with season 4. I said it's the best season to date. If it ends the way I think it's gonna end, season 5 could be the best season of this show so far, man. I really like what I'm getting. Again, I don't know where the story's gonna go from here on out, but I have a potential idea. And this whole thing of Freya being very aware of the fact that people I'd see her more as Seer than Freya, that can potentially change the way how she acts going forward, and especially the fact that the person she loves called her Seer. It shows that, you know, she's hurt by doing this deep down, deeply. She doesn't want to hurt the people that she cares about because she made a connection with these people as Seer. So maybe the thing is, she has to understand that no, people care about Seer, and I'm trying to forcefully try to say like she's dead, but in reality, the spirit of Seer is within these people. So maybe Seer isn't ultimately dead. So we'll definitely see where the story is going to go, but another amazing episode. Put in the comment section your thoughts, man. This is a deep-ass episode. I know I got a comment last week about one of my theories, but this episode completely changed the game. But I still won't get over the fact that this girl Freya legitimately was, I'm okay with a fucking threesome. I'm okay with a threesome with you, Ryu. Ryu should, I don't give a shit, whatever. Ryu should have said yes. Ryu should have said yes, confirmed. That could have been the end of Danmachi. There you go. I would have been happy. But we're not getting that option. We're not getting that route. Maybe if you get, maybe you throw an ice wall inside, maybe Belle will agree to this. Maybe you get a combination of Ryu, Belle, Ice, and Freya. And maybe Belle will be like, oh, I'm sure, I'm okay with you got it. Yeah. So we'll see. But put in the comment section your thoughts on this week's episode. Hit that subscribe button if you want to get more Danmachi content or any other anime content upload to the channel and things like that. But till then, guys, stay safe out there. Have a great rest of your day or night, whichever video. Till then, guys, stay safe out there and have a great rest of your day. Peace.